Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Vanity Table podcast. I am your host, Sienna Mariah. This episode is going to be another useful tips for aspiring pro MUAs or anybody who is already a makeup artist and wants to maybe branch out and start going more solo and working weddings and events and bringing a makeup kit to said location. Gotta say, most people's kits probably could improve in some way. I know mine certainly could. I need to really hone in on my foundation situation. You don't have to have everything perfect to get started. Just have the things that are 100% necessary. And I'm going to tell you what those are. I'm also going to have a blog post up with all of the links to anything that you can ever need. So if you want to check that out, go to my website, siennamariah.blog. It'll be linked in the show notes and on the description section of the YouTube video. That will have all those helpful links and tips for you on what to stock up on when getting started, because it is very overwhelming when you're like, oh my gosh, what will I need? Especially if you already work at a makeup counter and you consider all of the supplies that you have at your disposal, and then you're like, how am I going to fit all of this into a makeup kit that doesn't compute? I remember it being very overwhelming. Y'all are so lucky to be able to access all of that stuff now on Instagram Reels, on TikToks, on YouTube. There's instructional things, there's blogs galore, there's information galore. We have information overload as opposed to when I started out and I had to just kind of ask around and figure it out. You know, you just had to figure it out on your own. There's no guide or person doing it, showing you how to do it. There's just a couple of things I wanted to chat with you about. And first of all, that is the makeup theme of the day. And today's theme is this Vogue cover from the 70s. I went for a kind of fun graphic for those that are listening. I used a cream eyeshadow to create this hint of a wing with the gold, and then did a graphic liner over top of that. And I actually did my no foundation face, which I have done now twice. I did a full tutorial of a grunge look with no foundation on, and that is on YouTube on my actual personal Sienna Mariah YouTube channel. And it is a tutorial of how to just make your skin look really, really nice and flawless, but also allowing the imperfections to show. And I think the contrast of a grungy eye or a really bold eye with naked, no foundation, not perfect skin is so fun. It does something to me. And when makeup does something to me and excites me because it's weird or different, then I'm all for it. It's a fun look. I think, showing skin and letting it be natural is very Sissy Spacek, circa 70s era. I mean, I just think she had such natural beauty to her, and it reminds me of that. So yeah, you could go peek at that on the Instagram account or the YouTube account for the Vanity Table. And otherwise, let's do some chit chat. The first thing I wanted to say is I was having a really fun conversation with one of you guys on TikTok. I had posted a video where my lip color was like that brown blood, ox blood color, reddish brown. It's from Mob Beauty. It's a beautiful color. And somebody said, this reminds me of film noir from MAC from back in the day. I, funnily enough, worked for MAC when that launched. So that was actually gratis that I received. I lived in North Carolina at the time. I also actually just happened to be staying at a friend's cabin out in the middle of the woods. So it was in the thick of the country in North Carolina in the South. And a lot of lifted trucks. A lot of lifted trucks. And I remember driving to work, and it was an hour commute through the mountains to get to MAC to work every day. Whenever you get gratis, they'll have theme days. And so they'll say, please wear, the gratis that you received so that you can speak to it. I was trying to get through the mountains to the gas station, which was at the exit on the way back to Asheville. I was like, gosh, I hope I make it to that gas station, but I had a long way to go back in those mountains. I ran out of gas. I remember putting along, and I'm wearing all black, because of MAC. I looked very goth witch girl. I'm on the side of the road, and people would not stop to help me because I looked scary. I think they were like, nope. I finally did have somebody stop. It was a fireman, and he was on his way to or from work and actually had a gas can, luckily, in the back of his car with gas in it. What luck. And he made a comment. He was like, so what's up with this crazy makeup? Are you like a witch or something? And I said, no, I'm a makeup artist for MAC. And he's like, MAC? Didn't have any idea what I was talking about. But it was definitely the most inopportune time to be sporting a very bold black lip, or, you know, the film noir, which is like that black kind of purpley brownie, just like the Mob one. Somebody mentioned film noir, and it instantly took me back to that memory of when I received it as gratis working for MAC. But yeah, if you love film noir, if you're looking for a similar color, you can try that Mob Beauty one. That's called, I'm looking in my drawer right now, M120. Mob is surely becoming quickly one of my new favorite makeup brands right now. I love them so much, but it's cruelty free and has really cool sustainable packaging. So there's some things that it's doing a little bit differently, and it's still indie owned, which I love. I love me an indie brand. So anyway, I wanted to say that little story. Another thing I was going to mention is I was speaking to one of you again on my last YouTube video, and we were talking about the no makeup, no foundation look. And she said a lot of people don't wear makeup out here. It's not as common as, say, in America, where, you know, by the time we're middle school or high school, we are wearing makeup every single day. I mean, I went to school once without makeup on in high school, and this is in high school, so my skin had to have looked really good. And I shared a locker next to one of my really good friends. He'd never seen me without foundation or makeup on before. I was rebelling against something, who knows, and I decided that I did not want to wear makeup that day. And I remember shutting my locker when he walked up and looking at him, and he was like, "Ooh, what happened to you? You look tired." I was like, well, noted. Never not wearing makeup to high school ever again if a boy is noticing that I don't look good. But I mean, you know, what do they know? And it was a friend of mine too, so he wasn't intentionally being mean. He just has never seen me without makeup on. And I'm not saying that you have to wear makeup to be pretty, and I want to make that very clear. So actually, that's what I commented back on her comment about nobody really wearing makeup in where she lives. But she's an American who moved over to Europe. And I was like, yeah, you know, a lot of the brides that I do makeup on actually aren't makeup wearers. They usually don't wear makeup, and they're not really that comfortable with it. They don't even know what most things are that I'm putting on their face. They're just trusting the process. And my job is to enhance their features, not shock them into looking like somebody they're not. So my specialty really is natural beauty, enhancing natural features. I'm not usually the bride makeup artist that does airbrushing and really heavy, strong, sculpted makeup. That's not my specialty. It's just not my thing. And I think you got to kind of stick to your style. You kind of figure out what your style is. And I've really perfected it. You would think it's that hard, but it can be, especially if their skin does have a lot of discoloration or does have a lot of like little tiny flaws that you can't see. Maybe they don't really keep up on their skincare. So you start battling against dead skin rolling around on their face, or maybe their skin just, I don't know, just doesn't take well to certain products. So you have to just really work around those things. But it's stuff you learn. That's why you do a trial. You always do a trial. When you're doing the trial, I need to do an entire video on that, on like trials and like making sure that you dial all that in. I have some really great tips for that. So that's definitely a video I need to make. But just doing a trial and making sure you don't have any surprises on their wedding day, which is such an important day for them. But yeah, I just wanted to be clear that I do makeup on people who don't wear makeup a lot, aren't comfortable wearing a lot of makeup. I always tell them they don't need it, because I don't want them to feel like I'm there to make them better. You know, I'm there to make you look good because you don't usually look good. No, they're beautiful. All these brides are always so beautiful. I'm always just like, how are they so cute? But they don't need to wear makeup every day to look good. A lot of them look better without it. And like what I'm doing today, where I have no foundation on, my skin looks fine, you guys. It doesn't need 10 pounds of foundation to look good. And so I'm really embracing that. But I will say something else. One other thing, and I'm going to move on from this, and we're going to start talking about supplies. I've noticed lately that AI is becoming more and more the inspiration photos that you're seeing out there in the world. Even for me, when I have a bride and she's like, I don't know what I want, and I just have her send me a photo of herself so I can kind of take a look at like her features and her skin type and blah, 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 her eyes, all that. and start thinking about what I would do on her face, leading up to the trial. And I'll look on Pinterest for inspiration. And I've started to scarily come across so much AI, and people are starting to want this. They will bring that and say, I want to look like this. That's not good. That's not real. Like that skin isn't real. Those eyes, that face, that finish, that blend. I mean, blends on eyes up close are going to have small imperfections. Skin has imperfections. People have small imperfections. You can beautify and do it to the best of your ability, but we are just normal day-to-day people with normal jobs and aren't artificial intelligence created fake photos. I struggled with this a lot too back when the Kardashians were like a big thing back then. I mean, they still are, but they were huge when they were like in their 30s, and they were the it girls for what people wanted to look like. Makeup that is perfect, and makeup artists doing their makeup perfectly, spending hours and hours perfecting it to look like that. And then on top of all, they have access to specialists who can tweak things and make them look a certain way. This is your face, and we want you to look good according to your features. That always is a struggle if their expectations are to look like a fake photo or a person who has a lot of help. But I do not ever get on the anti-Kardashian hate train, because I have been watching them since they were very young, and I am a reality TV trash TV watcher. I do not believe in cutting women down because of their personal life choices, and whatever they do, I watch their show because I love looking at the makeup. I love the hair. I love clothes. I love it all. It's all really fun to look at. I gotta admit, it's a show to watch. If you're into the beauty industry, it's a show to watch to take tips, because their makeup artists are very good at what they do. And same as housewives and all of that. They have people they pay to do that. So it's a little different, and people are paying us as makeup artists to do that, but we don't always have hours and hours and hours to perfect every little detail. Yeah, I think the expectations are sometimes set a little bit unrealistically for us. Now, we can make you look fab, especially if you see a before photo and then an after photo of what we've done. The transformation is so rewarding, and I'm always excited about what they look like afterwards. If they have it in their mind they're going to look like someone they're not, then there's nothing you can do about that. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. The first thing I say is that's AI. I just want them to understand that right off the bat. That's going to be up to your photographer when they take photos to airbrush you to a point where you can look like that if you want to. It's just not all going to be makeup. There's going to be texture. There are pores on people's faces. You could do skincare leading up to the day. I always tell my brides, drink lots and lots and lots of water and get a facial and get your skin like up to par weeks leading up to it, and drink lots of water. But a lot of times during that time, people are under a lot of stress and they're drinking a lot. And usually they've had family in town leading up to the day of the wedding too. So I did, that's back when I drank. I don't anymore, but back when I drank, I was drinking so hard the night before the wedding. I don't know how I looked decent at all. I was hammered the night before. So drinking a lot leading up to that too just really is not good for the skin. So just drink lots and lots of water. But I will say there is something about that bridal glow. It's a thing. It's weird. When a girl is engaged and ready to go down the aisle with her husband and has a special moment, there is something that happens to them and they turn into angels, and it's a wild, wild thing. I'm like, was I like that? Because I was my own makeup artist. And so I don't know. I just did what I always do with my makeup. Our wedding was in a hot spring in Canada. So I wasn't too concerned about my makeup because we were going to sit in a huge hot spring afterwards. Makeup was kind of the last thing on my mind, honestly. Let's move on to makeup kit essentials. Things that you're going to want. Again, this will be in a blog post and linked in the description. So if you're looking for a supply checklist, go check that out and it will help you figure out what you need to bring. But I will say the very first thing you're going to want, and take all this as work on getting it, but don't feel like you've got to have all of it at once. There's some that are non-negotiable things, and there's some things that you can get away with to start. Like, for example, I had a little Betsy Johnson roller luggage. That was my makeup kit transporter for a good solid few years before Amazon shopping was really, there was no like Amazon delivery thing where you can get anything you can ever imagine. At that time, it was like I didn't even know where to find a actual professional affordable makeup kit. That was not a thing when I started. So I just grabbed a Betsy Johnson roller luggage that you would take on an airplane for the overhead compartment, that size. I put little makeup caboodle style, but black. But I think one was the actual caboodle. I think it was a black fake leather caboodle. And that folded out and had little compartments for me to put my eyeshadows and all my things in. The other side was clear toiletry. You want clear so you can see what's in things because you're going to be moving fast. You're not going to have time to sit there and open everything and look inside of everything. And so that I had full of all of my sanitation stuff, which I will list here in a minute. You can just grab a small piece of luggage if you've already got one, most of us do, and just put makeup cases inside. Now, you do have Amazon now, so you can just go on Amazon and shop for, which I'm going to list mine, actual rolling makeup kits. Sure, there's really expensive ones out there that are upwards of $500 to $600. So you can invest good money into, make sure you save those receipts and write those off on your taxes. But that is not always the option for a lot of us. So having something that is somewhat affordable for most of us starting out too is going to be one of those just nice black multi-compartment roller luggage on wheels. You want it to be on wheels because it's going to be heavy and you're going to be toting this all over the place. So I love Heart and Soul by Allie Nicole. I'm sure you guys have seen her. She is a hair and makeup artist for brides, and she is, I think, in Tennessee, where she in the South somewhere. She's got an accent. Quite the ordeal for weddings. She has a cart that she rolls out. She brings a light, a chair, a table. I mean, but she also does two different, you know, she has two chairs because she has hair and makeup. The girl probably makes a killing. I tell you what, that girl probably makes so much money. And then on top of that, she's an influencer on Instagram and whatever, maybe TikTok, I don't know. Anyway, cute as a button. And the first time I saw her putting a kind of almost ASMR type video was like her getting all of the equipment and putting it in her car and rolling it inside and setting it up and all the stuff that she put out. It was like, holy crap, holy, like I don't even do that. I also am doing makeup in downtown Seattle, or, you know, the places that I'm toting things around. I've flown places. I've not really a huge rolling cart to put all of my stuff within has not been an option for me. If I went downtown Seattle rolling that giant thing with chairs and tables, it would not fly. Maybe one day I'll get to where I'm going to want to bring all of that. But if they don't provide me a chair, now the chair dilemma, let me say, is it's a problem. Everyone has chairs. They just don't have high chairs, and you need chairs that are lifted up because you are doing makeup and you need to be as close to face as you can get with someone. And most of these chairs are perfect for hairstylists because they can sit low and then the hairstylist can be on the back side of their head and doing their hair. But we need, as MUAs, we need director's chairs, pedestal chairs, bar stools, anything that's high up. And I have fallen into this struggle many times of not having the proper chair to do makeup on people. It is something you want to communicate maybe like a week leading up to it, is like, I'm going to need a tall chair. But that's why that Allie chick, when she does that, makes you go, huh, maybe not having to ask for things that you're going to need is better, and to bring it. But again, I'm not always in a position to be toting that stuff around depending on where you are. So that's something for you to think about and consider. But the chair dilemma is major. When I've done like dance competitions and things like that, I'm usually in a hotel. And so if you're in a hotel, you can usually hunt down a bar stool from their restaurant or bar. But that's sometimes a pain in the butt too, because then you're like, how far away is that? And they get all weird about you taking their chairs. I've had one particularly that was like really weird about me taking a chair. I'm like, hello, I'm not going anywhere with it. I'm still in the building. Calm down. It's one chair. You've got like 50. Bringing a director's chair, I think if there were to be something I brought, that would be the most important. And then also having a surface to do makeup on. Most people don't think of that either. So you'll find yourself figuring out like, where do I put everything? I need a table. People don't give you a table. And the tables are covered with all of the bridesmaid stuff and food and champagne. Oh, and then lighting. You're always going to want to ask for a natural light window. You're always going to need a natural light. Wherever you are, you need to face natural light. A lot of times the hairstylist wants to be in the bathroom where the plugs and the outlets are. So don't hog an outlet section. If that's the only place in a hotel room or a venue where there's all the outlets, you don't need outlets. You're a makeup artist. So give the outlets to the hairstylist and take the light. Yeah, you can bring lights if you want to, or a ring light or something like that. Obviously, there's going to be sanitation supplies. You're going to need wipes. You're going to need rubbing alcohol, like isopropyl isopropyl alcohol. You're going to need alcohol. I put that in a spray bottle, and you use that to sanitize all of your lip liners, your eyeliners. Then you also will need brush cleaner because you're going to need to clean utensils and tools in between applications. I have triple, quadruple of each brush so that I don't have to clean my brushes between every single face. A lot of times, especially big gigs where it's like a lot of faces, you're not going to have time for that. I've also been known to bring in small disposable plates so I don't have to clean my makeup palette every time that's covered in foundation and serums and whatever else. I bring a trash bag. I always have like a couple trash bags tucked into the bottom of my makeup kit, and I'll tape that onto the side of a table or on the side of my makeup kit. I actually even just recently bought a little travel trash bag, and I hooked that onto the back. You're constantly going to be throwing away all of your disposable tools, like your lip brushes, your mascara wands and spoolies, all of that. So there's things that you're never going to double dip that you need to throw away after one use. You use a spoolie on someone's eye with mascara, goes in the trash. And so you're going to need that, a container full of spoolies, mascara wands, disposable eyeliner brushes, disposable angle brushes, lip brushes. You're going to need all of that. And there are kits that you can buy, which is so handy now. Again, we never had this when I started, but now you can buy whole, I keep saying back in my day, we used to have to walk to school in the snow without shoes. You know, I'll put it on the screen here if you're watching on YouTube. And if not, I'm sure you can imagine it's just a tray of everything that you need, and then you can buy back stock and just keep that full. That thing has been great because I keep it super organized, and then you don't let anybody touch it either, because people will come up and start wanting to grab things to borrow because they're trying to do their own makeup or touch something up, and they're putting their hands in it, and you're like, excuse me, keep your hands out, please, because this is all sanitary. You don't want someone cross-contaminating all of your sanitation supplies. So just, if they need something, they need to ask. Don't let just people come up and grab stuff from your makeup table. Hand sanitizer in your brush belt or a pump on the table, and in between each thing that you do where you're touching someone's face, you need to sanitize your hands. Your hands are going to be dried up by the time you're done, but you have to do that because you can't touch someone's eye, not clean your hands. Someone else sits down and now you're touching someone else's eye and face. That is not okay. Brush cleaner, obviously you're going to need to clean brushes. Bring a roll of paper towels or a towel. I have these little towels that say makeup on them, and I can use those for cleaning brushes in between, and then I can just take this home and wash it. Have a couple of these on hand. You can get these in bulk if you're listening. They are black terry cloth towels that say makeup on them, and you can completely destroy these with makeup, and since they're black you can't even tell. And toss them in the wash, sanitize them when you're done, and then you have reusable towels for your next round. But that's really handy to keep in there. I bring paper towels. You'll need it. Bring scissors. People ask for it. Bring cuticle scissors to cut your lashes, lash applicators. Your brush belt, obviously, you're going to need full of all your brushes. I would say like every payday that you have, whatever day job you have, put like 20 to 30 bucks each week towards buying supplies for your kit for like a month straight, and you will slowly start to build your kit up. You don't need to do all of this all at once. The downtime is a great time to start kind of adding and stocking up and getting new things for your kit so that it's not a shock to the system when wedding season rolls around and you have to go buy all this new stuff. Use the makeup that you love because you want to be familiar with the makeup. So I have certain palettes that are just my go-to, and I will continue to rebuy them. Like the Tarte In Bloom palette is one of my favorites for brides. It's a beautiful palette. It has some really stunning taupey brown colors, some nude colors, some really pretty shimmers, and really dark chocolate browns, some medium browns. It's really just a nice palette. So if you're looking for a beautiful bridal palette, In Bloom, let's see, the Ciate's Brazilian Glow palette is really pretty. There's a bunch of just really nice palettes for doing glam just basic glam makeup, but you want to make sure you have cool tones and warm tones for all different types of skin. Thinking about that too when you're getting palettes for various skin types. Some people have fair skin to the point where purples are more of their color, their undertones are kind of purpley looking. Then you're going to want palettes that have these pinky purple undertones. They're not going to want brown. They're not going to want to you come anywhere near their face with brown. Somebody who has really beautiful milky porcelain skin, don't even come at them with bronzer. Don't even get the bronzer out. She can contour, but she would not bronze. Just because these steps that you've done or learned from watching YouTube videos and influencers and whatever over the years, and you're thinking, okay, I know how to do makeup, full beat. Not everybody is going to have the exact same steps. So you need to really learn how to customize these looks for each person's specific needs, not what you think that you need to be doing. Not everybody needs primer. Not everybody needs a setting spray. Not everybody wants a glowy look. Not everybody, some people want a matte look. So you've got to communicate with these clients sitting in your chair and making sure you're doing a makeup look that they're going to be comfortable with. Because if you're doing glowy on somebody who likes matte skin, they're going to hate it. They're going to hate it. Jewelry. Do they have silver or gold on, or do they like to wear both? That's a big indicator of whether they're more of a cool tone person or a warm tone person. So that's always a nice giveaway. You'll want waterproof mascara. You want gum or mints. Everybody gets insecure about their coffee breath. So with lashes, so again, depending on what you're doing, I don't know, what everybody's different professions are, because that's, I'm talking like mostly beauty, bridal makeup look, so all of these things apply to that. But with lashes, you're going to want some demi wispies and try to get them in bulk so you have as many as possible. Get some individual lashes as well, some that are really like dramatic, because some girls are going to be like, oh no girl, those lashes are tiny, I need volume. So just have a few different types of sizes. You want a couple of different types of glue, so having glue that is a good across the board basic nice glue. I like the glue that comes with the wand that has a brush. If you're squeezing the glue out, like back in the day when we had the tubes of Duo Lash, a lot comes out and you do end up wasting product. And if you're working on a lot of people all the time, you are going to waste that quicker. So having one that just is a little wand that you can pop out and just strip it along that lash, that tends to be, in my opinion, the efficient glue to use, as well as the easiest. It's not as messy. So ask if they have an allergy before you use any types of glues, and go for the natural one if they do. Do not let anybody talk you into putting on used lashes. I've had this happen before where people bring in, this chick had duped me. She had a lash case with lashes in it, and I was done with everybody. I was packing up, and she said, will you please do my lashes? I don't need anything else. I just need you to put my lashes on for me. And she had just done her makeup. So I was like, all for it. Sure, girl, I got you. I know, I got you. And she sits down. I get everything out. I get out my glue. I pull the lash out of the case, and I see there's like 10 rounds of used glue on her lashes. You can't put now your wand on that lash unless you want to sacrifice that glue and give it to her. Just say you can have this now because it's been cross-contaminated, but it was covered in old glue. I gave her a lash and said, here, I need you to help because this is going to take a minute, and get the glue off. And I said, I usually don't apply used lashes. I thought these were brand new. They look like they were still in the case. They're like velour lashes. Those are like 25 bucks, and that's expensive for a lash. A makeup artist is not going to use old, crusty, glue stuck to it lashes. And when I worked at MAC, that is a huge no. Nobody is allowed to bring their own lashes in at MAC, or when you work at a beauty counter, they cannot bring theirs in and ask you to apply them. You can only apply lashes that they purchased in store and you opened it. Even pulling all of glue off as much as best we could, and me putting the glue on these puppies, they would not stick to her eyelid. They would not stick to the eyelid. They were rolling around on her lid, messing up her eyeliner, burning her eye. It was a nightmare. Her eyes started watering, and then her makeup started dripping down her face. It was a mess. It was a mess. And that's what I get for not sticking to my rule. And I will never do it again. So learn from my mistake. Do not say yes to that. I mean, you can't, if it's a friend and you're trying to be nice, whatever, but if it's covered in old glue and old eyeliner and glitter, there's glitter all over it, good luck with that. If you can get that on there, hats off to you. You're going to want a few different types of setting spray, so making sure you have some for different skin types. I always just have like 3, a dewy one, a really hardcore hold setting spray, and then maybe one that has a little bit of that, like there's one in particular, I think it's, who is it, ColourPop, one of those brands. It has like almost a powder solution in it that helps with mattifying. So not everybody wants to be matte, not everybody wants to be dewy. So if you feel like they're looking dewy just naturally because whatever reason you didn't use any dewy primers or anything like that, but they're still looking so dewy, you can spray this mattifying, hardcore mattifying setting spray, and it will take that dew out, and then you can pat them with some translucent powder and set them on their way. I don't use it a lot, but I do use it when I need to. And then having like the One Size or the Urban Decay all-nighter, like, you know, those well-known setting sprays that are just for locking everything in place, especially in the summertime where most events take place. So having that, I sprayed sometimes twice. So sometimes I will do, if they're going for a dewy glowy look, I will spray them with a dewy glowy setting spray and then go on to do their lashes or something else, let that melt into the skin. We will translucent the T-zone and make it look all nice and mattified, and then we do the setting over top of that. So sometimes you can double set it. And also with that, you want primers that are for multiple skin tones. So having a primer that's really good for making the pores smaller. Oop, I just lost a necklace. I felt it go down my shirt. That's right here. Forgot that wasn't attached. Was that hanging off the whole time? Damn it. I had that like tied in the back, but I'm moving my head around a lot. But yeah, having different primers, you know, you can probably imagine which ones you're going to need. I'm on the fence about eye primers. I would do an eye primer if you're doing a really sculpted, almost cut crease look, but I wouldn't say that everybody needs a eye primer every time. And sometimes eye primers can backfire, so I don't always go for them. I feel like it's kind of a wasted step. I can prime their eye myself with a good amount of concealer, translucent powder, and then just really packing down the base of whatever eye look I'm doing. So I don't know that we always need an eye primer per se, but some of you might disagree with me. I always have a eye cream in case they look really dry, a lip scrub, because people will come to you with straight up like chapped, bitten lips. I'm not playing. And you're like, girl, we need to exfoliate your lips stat, especially if they're hanging out partying a lot and really dehydrated. It'll show in their lips. I would say 90% of people I've done makeup on have had dry lips. I'm not kidding. That many. It's a lot. So get a scrub of some sort and then using a lip mask. So I always start out with a lip mask, so it's just melting into their lips. So by the time we're done with their makeup, they've been wearing that the whole time. You're going to want a variety of lip liners. I actually just bought this generic brand lip liner. Came with a lot of liners though, in every single color you can imagine. Is it the best liner in the world? No, but it gets the job done. And most people, when you're doing event makeup, are going to need to bring their own liner and their own lipstick. Or if you went and picked one out and bought it for them and they reimbursed you. The lips are always a weird thing because a lot of people don't think about that. And you're like, don't you realize you're going to need lipstick? Because they're thinking you're just going to take care of it. Sure, you could put a liquid lipstick on somebody, but that to me is a risky move, because if you eat something with even an oil or a butter in it, it's going to remove it. And then you're going to have a half lip on and it's going to look awful. And then you're not going to want to go get into the bathroom and perfect a liquid lipstick. So I say the safe route is just doing a good basic matte lipstick if they want a matte lip, because that way it's easier to fix up and fix, but you're going to want to have it. So they're going to need to have that on hand to touch up their lip. Or they can just go really simple with a nice gloss. To me, that's the most, like a satin or something, that's the most user-friendly. Just whip it on. I don't have to think about it. As far as lips, that's something that you need to talk about with your client, what they would prefer. They're going to need it on them. So I just bring the lip liner to create the look that I want. Sometimes I have these little sample containers that I will sample out shave off a little bit of a lip color and give that to them, and then they can touch up with that if they didn't think ahead to bring a lipstick. But I make it very clear everyone's going to need to bring lipstick, but I can sample it out worst case. A couple of different brow pencils and eyeliner pencils, a black eyeliner, clear brow gel, a brow glue. You know, all of those things can be just like a NYX brand if you want to go drugstore. A couple of brow tools to use. Taupe is always obviously a good one to have. Get a couple of different colors of brown brow, taupe and like a soft brown. And then also I have a palette that is an old MAC palette that I've filled with brown individual eyeshadows, and those are like worst case scenario. You've got somebody with a really crazy color brow. that you don't have a pencil for, you can at least use an angle brush and some eyeshadow and some clear gel, and that would be perfect for doing their brow. You want a hand mirror so you can show them the makeup afterwards. Obviously, a lot of your palettes will have a mirror in it, but you know, a hand mirror is a nice thing to hand somebody at the end and go, look at it, because most of the time they haven't even seen it. And that's my favorite part. You've done all the makeup, you've chatted, you know, you've helped time go by quicker, hopefully, by not being miserable to be around. And then, or they're tired and they don't want to talk. I mean, there's always that too, but I've already said before, I'm a chatty girl, so I will chat them up and hopefully make the time pass by, because it's anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes to, when it's the bride, an hour and a half. Just depends. That's a long time to sit there. And so they haven't even seen their face, and showing them what they look like after all that is always so fun. That's my favorite part. It's like, okay, we're done. I think you look so good. And talk it up too. Like when you're doing it and you put an eyeshadow, oh, this color is for you. This is beautiful. You know, just talk it up and make them feel good so that they know when they see themselves that they're going to like it. Just prepare yourself for those times when they don't. You can't please everybody. Can't please her, especially if the communication is off or the vibes are off. Oftentimes it can be like mother-in-laws or moms who don't like makeup or are very particular about how they want to look, and most of them don't even want a makeup artist to do their makeup because they don't even trust that they're going to be able to do it. So there's a tricky way of dancing around makeup on more mature skin and women who are older, because they know what they like, but they don't want to guide you at all. They're like, oh, you're the professional, and you're just like, no, I'm the professional, but I don't know what you like. I don't know your taste. You're gonna need to tell me a little bit about what you like. Do you like this color? Do you not like this color? They've got to help you a little bit here. Just because you're a professional doesn't mean you look at someone's face and just create magic for them and their particular taste. So anyway, that is do I have everything? Let's see, let me go down my list here and make sure I've listed everything. Oh, foundation. Foundation is a tough one. Just having a variety as much as you can. And if you've got a really big wedding with people with a lot of different skin tones, like especially if it's a huge wedding, say, can you tell everybody to bring their foundation and I will apply it, if you know, making sure we have time to apply it for everybody. But if you think about time, like I'm not always going to have time to do a full face on every single person. Some people are going to need to be skipped and just do eyes and lips, or what I can fit into for time, obviously with focus fully on the bride as the priority. And do not let your brides go last. Do not let your brides go last, because that is when time starts to get really crunchy and everyone's starting to feel that pressure and the tensions rising. If they've been drinking champagne that whole time, they're going to be a little bit buzzed and a little bit difficult to get them to sit still or take it seriously. So do not let them go last, not even second to last. Make them go in the middle, somewhere in the middle. That is it for this episode. I hope that had some tips and tricks in there for you, for things that are useful. And go check out the blog post if you want to see my supplies suggestions. That was a fun one. I hope you guys stuck around for all of it. If you did, gold star. If you are not subscribed to me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, or Amazon Music, please do subscribe. Also, I forgot in the last two videos to ask you guys to please rate and review. I know I'm brand new, but rating and reviewing does wonders for anybody on these podcasting platforms, and really gonna help me grow if you guys want more of this stuff. So yeah, please do that. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.